everyone. In this video I'm going to be talking about my new Lego bandage cube. I finished it on Thursday night, pretty late, and it's now Saturday morning, and the glue is fully dry, so now I can tell you this. So, it's made out of a mini QJ Rubik's Cube, and it's just the right size for it, and I was originally going to make it out of a mini Alpha 5, but there's a problem with that. And let me grab it real quick. Here it is. So as you can see, the cubies on the edges are wider, and they're not quite the right size for it. And it's a little bit too small for this application. But the mini QJ is just the right size. Now, you can make this out of any Rubik's Cube, but if you want it bandageable, you have to make it out of a mini QJ. Or some other 3x3 that's exactly 46 millimeters. Or 45, kind of, pretty much. So, I've seen some other ones, but they're just for look, but not for actual challenge. So, anyway, the turning is very good. It took quite a while to make it. So when I ordered some cubes for my birthday, I ordered some from Lightake, which is the only place I can find a mini QJ. And with that, I ordered a 2x2x3 for a mod, which I'm not going to tell you just yet. I'll tell you if I finish it. And along with the MFA Crazy 4x4. So I ordered this with it, and this is how it came. Now, I didn't quite have all the Legos for it, and I actually screwed up the Legos. So, I saw RedKB's video, but he says you need to round off the edges, but I thought it was on these top parts, but it was actually inside here to prevent lockups. As you can see, it's a little bit Florian modded, as you can see, and that's to prevent lockups. And I didn't do that, and it was locking up a lot, until I figured out where my key mistake was, and it was on that. So, what I had to do was, I had to pry off the Legos with a screwdriver, which wasn't too hard, but I took off a little bit of the plastic with it. And I had to order some new Legos from a place called Pick-a-Brick, because I'm running really low on all the Legos for this. Like, I've gone through like a big pile of them, like a huge box of Legos, and I couldn't find any more. So I ordered them from Pick-a-Brick, which was a little bit expensive, and I'm also in the midst of making one out of a 2x2 and 4x4. And I have all the Legos right here. This is the rest of them. And I had a few for bandages earlier, so yeah. The 2x2 I plan to make it out of is a Rubik's Junior Cube. You might remember I unboxed this at the beginning of the summer. I'm not sure if I uploaded the unboxing, but you probably saw a disassembly tutorial, and that's why I got this little cube right here, along with Gear Cube Extreme. So that's what this was for, and this one here I know is not exactly 30 millimeters, but anyway, it's a 2x2 and there's none on the outer layers, so it can practically be any size. Like, you can make it out of a Diane 2x2 or with 2 or Ghost Hand. You can make it out of any 2x2, but I prefer a smaller one. And I prefer one that's not as good, because I don't want to make it out of a really good speed cube that I want to use in competition. So, yeah. But you can make it out of any 2x2 you want. And as for 4x4, I can't quite figure out which 4x4 I'm going to use. I know I'm not using the Landland, which RedKB used and said it was not quite the right size. But I do have a few 4x4s I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of a QJ 4x4, but that's a little bit small. I'm also thinking about a Shengshao version 2, but that's kind of small as well. And I heard that the Rubik's might work on it, which I'm considering of getting one. And I have to measure the pieces. Like, I actually have a piece of a Rubik's 4x4 right here. But if you kind of remember, I kind of mutilated it. So yeah, as you can see, it's pretty much the same size. So I'm thinking I might order a new one, or maybe I'll just order the pieces I'm missing from CubeSmith. So anyway, back to this thing. So I'm going to talk about the turning. The turning is very good. It has a few lockups, which might mean I need to round it off a little bit better. But it turns really well. Like, check this out. And that did the M-perm, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. So yeah, it does work with speed cubing, but it's probably not competition legal, because if you look at it like this, you can see the other side, which just gives you an advantage, and that's kind of like cheating, so yeah. But it still works really well. Oh yeah, and as you can see, I just popped a cap. That's one problem with this thing. And as for the blue side, I did kind of over-modify it a little bit, as you can see. So now you can compare that to how good you could do on a regular speed cube. See, I compare it to this. As you can see, it is a little bit harder to do, but it's not impossible. Like, it's not impossible to turn. It turns very well. And corner cutting, it can corner cut from decent distances, but corner cut's better if it's looser, but it can pop easy. And it doesn't have very good inner corner cutting, but you know, we're not speed cubing on this, so you don't really need it, but it's kind of nice if you can do that. So, yeah. Okay, so now you might want to see what it looks like on the inside. So, here are the Legos right here, and as you can see, they're glued on. As for a corner, here it is, center cap, and those scratch marks are some glue, and this thing was pretty hard to get them very straight. Now, if you saw RedKB's video, as you can see, he put them on just by putting them on by hand. But I did something extra that helps along with this. Here, let me go get it. Here's what I built to help me make this. So, what this is that when you put this thing in, it very tightly goes in there and keeps the cube still. Now, unfortunately, I can't really explain that because all the Legos have been put on. But anyway, what it would do is it would keep it still. And then what you need to do is to make the Legos, you actually have to put them together, you know. Like, let me demonstrate. So what I mean by that is, to say we're putting these orange Legos on. So what we'd have to do is you need to put once you've sanded them down enough, you need to put them together, you know. And I recommend using these high Legos so that you can take them off easily without making the glue come off. So you basically put them all together so that way you know you will be able to bandage it once it's done. And then after that, you put the cube in very tightly. You then put super glue all over it and then put it in. And you press onto it and let it sit for a few minutes to get the glue dry enough that it'll stay on. And then next you need to take it out, and then you need to very carefully take it apart and make sure nothing got glued together. If it does, you need to hold down the Legos onto the piece and very carefully bend it, and it should break the bond. And that's the hardest part about it. It's so that it doesn't bond, and there is a risk of it coming off, you know, but just do the best you can. And once it's apart, let it sit for a little bit until the sides of the Legos are pretty much dry from the glue. And once you got that, the pieces are good, and then you can move on to the next step. Now, just to tell you, put them in here. It's really only necessary for the first side. So, and after the first side, what you could do is say, I want to put the yellow side on after putting the white side on. I could move it up and then put that thing together, except now I just have to do it as if I'm bandaging these particular Legos. And just keep doing that around until it's completely bandaged. And if you do it a little bit at a time, it'll be easier to take them off in the end. And the reason they get glued together is that they're so close together and you have to put glue on the sides of it, is that when you do that, glue could get in there and then it'll get stuck to it. And you want to wait so that it won't fall off. But then there's another risk of it falling off. So that's really the hard part, but I'm sure you'll be able to work through it. And so yeah, that's an overview of how to make it. So I recommend you make this if you're looking for a new challenge, and there's a couple thousand ways you could bandage this. Like, here's this. It gets bandaged. So I cannot move this thing no matter what I do. So it's going to be stuck together like that. And another bandage cube that is out there is the Meffert's bandage cube. And I decided to make this instead. And I don't really know how it goes together, but I did attempt to try it last night, and it is very difficult. So, one nice thing with the Lego bandage cube is that if you ever get stuck, you know, and you cannot figure out how to do this, then all you gotta do is start popping all the pieces off, and it'll be back to a standard Rubik's Cube. And you should be able to solve it, which I predict a lot of you probably know how to solve. So, that's what's really nice about this. If you get stumped and you just cannot figure it out, and you just want to go back to a regular Rubik's Cube, it's not hard. But I've done some bandages like this, and it's not that hard to solve it. You really just need to look at what algorithms you know for OLM, PLO, and then try to apply it around the bandages, like that. And so yeah, there's a lot of bandages out there, like the Constraint Cube from Calvin's Puzzle, and the Latch Cube. But this Latch Cube has arrows, and you can't go back, which you cannot do with this Lego Cube. Okay, so that's about everything I have to say about this Lego Cube. I will put a link in the description to where to get the Legos and and the cube. And on Pick a Brick, just in case you're wondering, it does say orange-brown Legos, but they're really actually these bright orange Legos. So that's one thing I would fix about it, you know. But if you cannot find, if you really want to know that they're perfectly orange, you could probably get some on like Amazon. And I tried going to the Lego store in Disneyland to get them, but they didn't have them there. But this would be a cool thing to show them. I think they'd be really impressed of what you could do with this. So yeah. Alright, so I'll see you later.